Okay. Okay. Hello everyone. We have Jessica Ocheng, we have Christ Misamu, and we have Yomi. Welcome, welcome everyone. Can you guys hear me clearly, please? Is my sound clear? Okay, thank you, Jessica. Okay, we have Oladosu Ibrahim Adekunle. We have Charity Precious. Welcome, welcome everyone. Okay, let's wait for some minutes for others to join us. The stipulated time is 7 p.m. and I think this is 6:57 over here. So let's wait for some minutes for others to join us so that we can start from there. You're welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. So we have Marisa Black, we have Sarush, we have Emmanuel, we have others joining us. Jesus Christ. Welcome, everyone. It's almost time. Okay. Jennifer, welcome. Yeah, super stoked about this. Yeah, same here. Abbas Abdulaziz, welcome. Okay, can you guys hear me clearly? Okay. Okay. I would share my screen and I would confirm if you can see my screen. I'm coming. If you can see my screen, can you hear me? Welcome. If you can see my screen, just say yes in the chat box So that's okay. That's great. So I think I'll just have to start quickly because we don't have time. It's a 2-hour session. I'll start quickly so that others who join us can just start from where. So in this session, we are going to understand the fundamentals of HTML and CSS. Now, this session is meant for UI UX designers actually who wish to add HTML and CSS to their resume, their skill set. And the course is for everyone actually. It's also for anyone who has it in mind to go into web development. So this is how it's going. I have the website here in Figma. Website here in Figma. So this website's here in Figma. It's just a basic landing page website that's going to teach us so many principles under HTML and CSS. So this website here is what we will eventually convert into a real website using HTML and CSS. So now I believe nobody in this class is seeing first time or hearing about Figma for the first time. So I won't go over the basics of Figma and how to achieve a design like that in Figma. Actually, I won't go over that. I believe everyone here is sound understanding or a basic understanding of Figma and can come up with something like that in Figma. So let's get straight to the business of the day, which is to learn about HTML and CSS. Now, HTML and CSS are two technologies that are always used to build the front end of any website you see out there today. And when I say any website, I mean any website at all. Every website out there that you see uses HTML and CSS on the front end. Now, other technologies like JavaScript, React, Angular, Vue, and the rest of them out there only are attached or are tied to HTML. Like those languages are built and structured to work on top of HTML because actually are programming languages. They can't be displayed on the front end of a browser. So they are tied to HTML, which is capable of being displayed on the front end of a browser, and their functionality is attached to the HTML code that is running in the browser. So every website you see out there, every front end of every website that you see runs on HTML and CSS. Now, on a website here, HTML is used to build the structure, and CSS is used to arrange the structure and also make the structure beautiful. Now, this might need me to actually come up with like a will I say later so that you guys can. Kelechi, you can't hear me? Can anyone hear me? Okay, Kelechi, you can't hear me. I think refresh your browser. Okay, so this is how it works basically. When you use HTML to build the structure, then you use CSS to make the structure look beautiful. Just like building a house, you use blocks and woods to get the structure of the house. You use your paint, you use your POP cement, you use other things like colors and the rest, and doors and fittings to make the house look beautiful. But all of those beauty are attached to the structure that you got from using the blocks and using the cement and using the wood, I mean to say. So that's how HTML and CSS works. HTML is used to build the structure. CSS is used to beautify the structure. So that's why these two technologies called HTML and CSS are very important to learn as a developer designer. Now, as a UI UX designer, learning HTML and CSS has more to do with you understanding the principles and the structures of websites and how websites work. Because trust me, you can't be a very efficient architect if you just know how to design a house, but you don't know how people live in houses. You don't know how houses are used. You don't know how houses are built. If you just only know how to design a house, it's fine. But as an architect, if you know how to design a house and you understand the building process of a house, can make you have an advantage over other architects who just only know how to design but have no knowledge on how houses are built. So that's why you see companies these days. Companies easily look for UI UX designers who have the knowledge of HTML and CSS. When you go to those companies, you won't find yourself writing HTML and CSS most of the time. You won't find yourself writing JavaScript most of the time. What the companies want is just a UX designer who understands how this. Let's use building a house, for example. If you are an architect and you don't understand how houses are built, it means that you are more likely to come up with architectural designs that are not realistic. You are more likely to come up with architectural designs that the building engineers can't build, and that can run into conflict at the stage of implementation. So that's why companies easily look for UI UX designers who understand the building process, because that way the design team and the engineering team will work easily and understand themselves better. So learning HTML and CSS as a UI UX designer, like I always say, is just for you to understand the structures of how things work. Because if you know how to design websites, it's a more advantage to you if you know how websites are structured and how websites are built. So another point is this: the principles that guide professional web design in Figma were all gotten from the same principles that guides or that surround HTML and CSS. Like you see all of the principles like margin, padding, layout, having things centered, columns, rows, all of those design principles, yeah, were all gotten from CSS. That's why every design tool out there obeys and honors the rules of CSS. Now, if you use other design tools like Sketch, like XD, like InVision or like Framer, you'd find out that they all do the same thing. The only difference is the way their icons look, or the way things are being placed on the right side, but you would always find out that the principles are the same. That's why you can easily leave Adobe XD, get started with Figma, and in 1 or 2 weeks you are going to get comfortable with Figma. Now, all of this is possible because all of these design tools are built and to be around the principles of CSS, because CSS is designed for the web. So that's why that's one advantage of learning HTML and CSS in this case. So in this class, the way I am going to teach this course is this: I will like to relate design in Figma with topics in HTML and CSS so that it can be understood easily. Like, what I mean is this: when I bring up a topic in HTML, I would go to Figma and show you what that topic is in Figma. Like if I talk about padding in CSS, I would go to Figma and show you that padding, how it is being done in Figma, so that when you are designing websites, you will start designing with the mind of somebody who knows how it is built, and you will always have that yeah, this is how it is done, this is how it's not done, and if it's done like this, it's possible, it's difficult. If it's done like this, it's possible, but it's faster. That will also make you a UX designer that has an advantage over other UX designers who don't understand how it's done. So let's start with learning HTML. Now, what is HTML? I would have to bring up my browser point. I have to bring up my Figma. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So that's it. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Now, seeing that the L in HTML stands for language, this tells us that HTML is a language, right? Like as you can see, H is hyper, T is text, M is markup, and L is language. And having L there is telling us that HTML is a language, right? Now you'd ask yourself, what type of language is HTML? The answer to that is also clear. As you can see here, it says markup language. This means that HTML is a markup language. Now, don't think too much to ask yourself what's a markup language. A markup language in web technology is the language that you use to structure the elements in a web document. Now, that may sound complex. That's why I say you shouldn't bother yourself about it. Just understand that as humans, with languages are a means of communication, right? Now, the question to ask is this: what type of communication is this markup language called HTML used for? And the answer to that is simple also. Just know that HTML is the language that web browsers speak and understand. The web browsers, I mean Google Chrome, Safari, Edge, and so on and so forth. Any web browser out there, Opera Mini, anyone at all of them understand, like they speak and understand HTML. That's the language that web browsers speak and understand. Now, as a human, if you want to communicate to a web browser, like if you want to tell a web browser what to display, how to display, what to show, and how to show whatever you want the web browser to show, it means that you will have to communicate to that web browser with HTML, which is the language that the web browser speaks and understands. Because if you meet someone who knows how to speak English and that person only knows how to speak and understand English, it means what you want to tell the person to do, you have to communicate in the language that happens. Now, web browsers understand markup languages, which is HTML. In this case, HTML. Now, sometimes you may find out people say HTML is not a programming language. Yeah, the reason is because programming languages communicate to systems, like to computers, like to machines. Programming languages communicate to machines, calls, systems, and so on and so forth. But HTML is the language that you can use to communicate to a browser. Now, I hope that's clear. Okay. Now, so since HTML is a language that can be used to communicate to browsers, website designers use HTML to write instructions on how a website should be displayed in browsers. And when these instructions the website designers have written get to the browser will honor the instructions, and what you will see is a website being displayed in the browser. Presley, that may work. Actually, we may upload this session on the YouTube channel. So in this course, what we are going to do is, first of all, to write HTML, send it to a browser and watch the browser interpret it. Now, to write HTML, you need two things. And the things you need are a browser and an IDE. Now, everyone here has a browser. The other thing you need is called an IDE. Now, and some people say you need, some people an editor, some call it an IDE. Now, if you know it as an editor, it is still fine. If you know it as an IDE, it is still fine. So the preferred browser that I would recommend for this course is Google Chrome. So, but if you have Firefox, that's really perfect also. If you have Safari, that's also. Whatever browser you have is perfect, but I would recommend Google Chrome because it is Google Chrome that I'll be using to teach. So now, since every one of us has a browser, I'd like us to go ahead and get an IDE. And the IDE that I'll be using in this session is called Visual Studio. So to download it, go to visualcode.video.com. When you get there, just click on download for Windows if you are using a Windows computer. If you are using a Mac computer, come here, click on this arrow here to download it. This arrow here to download it for a Mac computer. If you are using a Linux system, come here, click on any of these arrows here to download the .deb or the .rpm version, anyone that's okay for you. Now, when you download the Visual Studio Code setup to your computer, double click on it. When you double click on it, the installation will begin. And when the installation begins, you go ahead, you install, and you'll be ready for us to start ML. Now, I'll just like to ask everyone has Visual Studio Code in their computer, or if anyone has issues downloading and installing, or also if I should just proceed with the class and you would catch up with us later. So which one of it should we do? Should I wait for everyone to get the IDE, or should we proceed with the class? Or, okay. Yes, I have the 27. Yes, that's good. That's good. All right then. So lots of people saying I should proceed. Anne-Marie says I can wait. Anne-Marie, if you have any issues later, you can always come back and draw my attention to it. Now, if you draw my attention to it, definitely I will be there to respond. Now, when your installation is complete, I would like for us to set up VS Code so that we can properly write HTML on our VS Code. Now, that's something really important to do. So to set up VS Code, you'd launch your VS Code. Can everyone see my VS Code screen? I want to be sure it's okay. All right then. So when you get here to VS Code, when you launch your VS Code, let's hide this. You would close this that says get started. Now, the first thing I want for us to do is I would want for us to set up our VS Code by installing relevant extension. Now, in VS Code, you can see extensions to be like things in Figma. You know, for you to get better with what you do in Figma, you plugins, yeah? Now, in VS Code, for you to really be at an advantage in coding, you need extensions. So extensions that we are going to need, and you can also go on to research on more extensions, but let's go over the more important ones. Now, the first extension that we are going to need is called the live server extension. And to download the extension, I'll come here. To download the extension, bring your mouse here. You can see where my mouse cursor is on. That point there. Click there. When you click there, you'd have this tab show up here on the left side. Now come here in this search bar and type in live, L-I-V-E, then server. When you type in live server, you see the live server extension show up here. Click on it. When you click on it, you'd have this button that says disable. Then you'd have an install button there. You'd have an install button show up here. Mine is currently installed. That's why it's showing me option to uninstall. Now, when you install, 2 seconds, going to be fine. Now, the next extension I would want you to install is called Prettier. Now, just type in Prettier, P-R-E-T-T-I-E-R. When you type it in, come here, click on it, and click on install. Under 2 seconds, that's going to be fine. Now, the next extension I would want you to install is Bracket Pair Colorizer. Bracket Pair Colorizer. This is it here. Okay, it's called Bracket Pair Colorization Toggler now. That's funny. So come here, you install it. Then after that, I would want you all. Okay, I think that's all I would want for you to install now. And for those of you who would want to set up, how about Notepad? Okay, John Benedict, you can use Notepad, but in this course we are using VS Code. Now, Omotoyosi, yes, I may. I can't promise that, but someone else might be recording. Now, has everyone installed the necessary extensions? Can I proceed with the extensions and go over to doing proper settings on VS Code? All right. Yes, 3 extensions. Valentine, kindly show us how to install again, please. Okay, I'll just go over that once more. Now, when you come to your VS Code, bring your mouse pointer over here where you have extensions. Click on extensions. There you see a search bar here. You type in the name of the extension you want to install, like this. When the name of the extension shows up, click on the extension here. You see an install button here. Click on it, and 3 seconds, that will be installed. Now, I would like for us to go over some settings. Now, if you want your code to be in a dark mode or to have some of those themes and colors, what you do is come here, click on File, click on Preferences, then you select Color Theme here. Then you can play around with the colors here. You can select any color. Currently, I'm using Dark Visual Studio. That's what I'm using. You can use any other color that you want to use. Now, another settings. Okay, this will need you to, let's say, follow me step by step. Hold Control on your keyboard. If you are using a Mac, that's your command key. Control Shift and P. When you do that, you'd have this tab come up here. Now, type in Preferences and your colon sign, then configure runtime arguments. You do that. When you click on it, you'd have this file come up. Now, the reason for this configuration is so that your VS Code does not eat up your processor. Like, you don't have your laptop shouting whenever you turn on VS Code. Now, this can actually help you just in case you are not using a high-powered system, or even if you are using a high-powered system, just so that your system doesn't get hot. Now, when this file comes up, you would see that this line of code here called disable hardware acceleration has these 2 / before it. Now, all you'd have to do is just take out the 2 /. When you take out the 2 /, it's going to look like this. It's going to become colored. It's no more going to. Now, if you have any issues with that, say it in the comment section. And someone is saying, what's the command for Windows? Okay. It's Control Shift and P. For Mac, it's Command Shift and P. That's it. Let's go over it again. So it's Control Shift P. Then you type in preferences, then configure runtime arguments. You'd select this one here, then take out the 2 / that is before the disable hardware acceleration code here. When you take out the 2 / Control S to save, and that's going to help you reduce the amount of space that the VS Code consumes on your processor. So I hope that's clear. Take out the 2 /. Okay, then take out the 2 / and that's going to be sorted. Now, the next thing I would like for us to, okay, mine came with the /, and then take out the 2 /. Take it out. Yes, yours will come with it. Now, the next settings I would like for us to go over is the setting I call the text wrap settings. Now, come here, click on File, scroll down here, hover on Preferences, click on Settings. Then come here in the settings bar and type in wrap. Then press the Enter key. When you type in wrap, come here. You can see where my mouse cursor is on. You'd see an editor word wrap settings here. Come here and select on. Keep it on. Yours might be set to off. Keep it set to on. When you keep it set to on, just close this. The settings will be saved. And that's that. So we are ready to start the process of writing our HTML code, and we won't have any technical issues at all. So if you have any questions so far to this point, okay, someone is saying, okay, where do you guys, sorry that, where do you guys want me to go back from again? Sorry for going too fast. Okay, then I'll go back to the point where we will change the 2 / setting. What you do is this: hold your Control and your Shift key, then press P. When you press P, this window will show up. Type in Preferences, then colon, then you type in Configure Runtime Arguments. This is it here. Then you'd click on Configure Runtime Arguments. When you click on Configure Runtime Arguments, this file is going to show up. Now, when this file shows up, you would come here on this line of code. In your own case, there will be a 2 /, just like how you have 2 / here. Before this line, there will be 2 / before this quotation mark that has disable hardware acceleration inside of it. All you do is just take out the 2 /. Just use your backspace key and take the 2 / out. Then Control S to save. Is that clear? It's okay. Einstein, yes, there is need. Yes, there is need. Okay, then the wrap. Now, if yours does not have the 2 /, if yours doesn't have the 2 /, don't bother yourself about it. It means your VS Code doesn't need that setting. Now, for the text wrap, Anne-Marie, the 3 extensions were bracket pair colorizer. I'd write it down. Bracket pair colorizer. I think bracket pair colorizer, live server, and Um, let's check the VS Code. So it's brackets and prettier. So the last extension was prettier. These are the three extensions that I installed. So it's bracket pair colorizer, live server, and prettier. Then for the text wrap settings, all I did was click on file, come here, hover on preferences, then click on settings. When you click on settings, come here in this search bar here in the settings page, type wrap, WRAP. When you type in wrap, you'd have this option come up here that says editor word wrap. Come here and set this to on. When you set it to on, you will be fine. That's it. You will be fine. So I hope that's clear. Can we now start writing? Okay. Anne-Marie, thank you. My name is covering the menu slide, the menu side. My name. Okay. I can't, Emmanuel, I can't understand that. So let's go now. Let's start writing our HTML code. Now, for you to write HTML code, yeah, you need to start a HTML project. Reason is because when you want to start writing HTML code, it means you want to start building a website. So when you want to start building a website, it means you want to start a website project. Now, what does that mean? It means you need to create a project folder. Now, the project folder, you can create the project folder anywhere, but in my case, most times, I always prefer the project folder. I always prefer that the project folder should be created on the desktop. So come here on your desktop, right click on your desktop and create a folder, just the same way you normally create folders on desktop. You can call the folder whatever you want to call it. My website project, their website project, our website project, whatever name is okay. Now, when you create your folder, the next thing will be to open that project folder in VS Code. I hope everyone is following. I hope everyone, please, can someone explain to me what Emmanuel is saying? He says my frame is pinned by the left side and is blocking the menu bar. I can't understand that. Can someone explain that to me? Okay. All right. Okay, this frame, yeah. Okay, how should I take this out? Okay, I think that was a problem, yeah. Okay. That's not. Okay, now I don't even know how to take out the frame. So what's going to happen is I think when I start, I would take out the VS Code like this. Will keeping the VS Code like that help? Will keeping the VS Code like this help? All right then. So now when you create the folder, on the project folder on your desktop, the next thing will be for you to open the project folder in your VS Code. so that you can start writing your HTML inside that project folder. And this is how to open a project folder in VS Code. Come here, click on File at the top right corner here. When you click on File, click on Open Folder. When you click on Open Folder, you go to the location where you created that folder. In my case, I have a folder here called HTML CSS tutorial. You click on the folder, the project folder that you created. When you click on it to select it, then you click on Select Folder here. When you do that, that project folder will be opened in VS Code, just like this. And to confirm that the folder is opened in VS Code, you would come here on the left side. You would see that there is a folder here called HTML CSS tutorial. That's the name of my own project folder. The name of your project folder is going to show up there. For you to see the name fully, just come here, click on this little arrow drop down here. You see mine is showing up, HTML CSS tutorial. Now, when you have that showing up, it means that you have successfully created your project folder and you have successfully opened it in VS Code. Now, if there are any questions, okay, I should kindly go over it again. Now, okay, Breonna and any other person having issues with the Control Shift P. Now, I'll just advise we just go past that, because it's just a setting to make your writing comfortable, or more comfortable actually. It won't affect the functionality actually at all. When we get to any place where we will face a problem that concerns that, I am going to look at it. Now, let me go over this process of opening this project folder once more. Now, when you launch your VS Code, now this is you launching your VS Code. This is after you have created your project folder on your desktop or anywhere. Come here, click on File. When you click on File, click on Open Folder. When you click on Open Folder here, then you will go to the location where you saved that project folder. In my case, I saved it on my desktop. So I would go to my desktop. And this is my own project folder that I created. It's called HTML CSS tutorial. It with. Now select your project folder, then come here and click on Select Folder. When you click on Select Folder, your project folder will be opened inside your VS Code. And that's it. You have successfully created a project folder and opened the project folder in VS Code. I hope that's clear. I can now proceed to create a HTML file, right? Can I proceed now? All right then. Now, the next thing that you may have this get started message here. All you do is just come here and close it. This is irrelevant. You can come here, click on this X sign here to close it. Now, after you have created the project folder and opened it in VS Code, the next thing you do is for you to create a HTML file. Now, this is just like you creating a spreadsheet. If you create a spreadsheet, or you create a Word document, or you go to Microsoft Word, there will be need for you to create a new file, right? Like my proposal.docx or my proposal.xlsx, whatever it is. Now, in HTML, it is still the same thing. You need a HTML file which is where you will write all your HTML code inside. Now, it is that HTML file that the web browser will read, interpret, and load as the website. So to create that HTML file, you will do it inside the projects folder that you have created and launched in VS Code. Now, how do we create a HTML file? It's simple. Bring your mouse pointer at this point here where you have the name of your HTML, where you have the name of your project folder in VS Code. Bring your mouse pointer. Now, it is that icon that you will click on. when you click on that icon, you will have this input field blinking, meaning that you should type in the name of the new file that you want to create. Now, in my case here, I would call it index.html. Simple as that. Then I would press the enter key. And just like that, I have created a new HTML file. Now, was that easy? Okay, I would maximize the HTML page now. I mean the VS Code. I don't think this is, I hope that's not problematic to everyone. Is that a problem? Maximizing the page, is it a problem? Okay then. All right then. So now for those of us who didn't get it file, your project folder in the browser, I mean in the VS Code, bring your mouse pointer here. You can see where my mouse pointer is on. You'd see that there is an icon here that says new file. Now, this icon is sitting on top of the name of the project folder that you launched in your VS Code. And that icon sitting on top of that name means that you are trying to create a new file inside the project folder. So when you click on that icon that says new file, then you type index.html and press the enter key. That way you have created a HTML file. And just the same way, if you have to create a PDF file, it must this.pdf or that.pdf. If it's a Microsoft Word file, it will be this.docx. It's still the same thing with HTML. To create a HTML file, it must be whatever.html. It can be my name.html, her name.html, whatever. It must be .html. Now, index is just the convention that is out there in the world of web development, that your first HTML page has to be called index. Like your home page is your index page. So that's why the first page is called the index page, index.html. All right then. So I would minimize this back to how it was. So this is it. Okay, sorry about that. I think I went off and I'm back. So Kelechi is saying I'm so lost. Please, can you just explain to me where you are lost, and I would explain better. Now, has everyone created? Is this process of creating a HTML file really clear? Can I now proceed? Okay then. All right then. Now, when you create your HTML file, it means that you are now ready to start writing your HTML code. It's just like you creating. It's just like you creating your how will I say that? It's just like you creating your Microsoft Word file. It means you can start writing your letter. You can start writing your letter. So I'll share my screen now once more so that everyone can see that. So I hope everyone can see my screen now. All right then. So let's write HTML. Now, to write HTML, HTML is written in tags, TAGS. I would have to increase my font size. For those of us who who need to see clearer. So HTML is written in tags. Now, you know, just the way in English language where you need to write English with uppercase letters, lowercase letters, full stop, question mark, and all of that. Those are the rules of English language. HTML is a language that has its own rules, and the rule is that you must write HTML in tags. Now, there are different types of tags out there, many types of tags, and we are going to see how to use all of those tags to build a website. Now, let's see how to create a tag. To create a tag, you would hold down your shift key and you would press the less than sign on your keyboard. When you press the less than sign, then you'd write in the type of tag you want to create. Now, let's say I want to create a paragraph tag. Don't take it too deep. Don't take it too serious for now. I'll just write P and I'll write the greater than sign. Now, what I just did now is me writing a tag. But for me to explain it better, let me tell you guys this, yeah? Tags in HTML are what you use to write whatever you have on a website. Like, as you see this website now, this text is a big text, right? Now, you can call this a heading text or like a headline text. Now, in HTML, for you to write a headline text on a website, you need to use a headline tag or a heading tag to do that. This is a paragraph text. You can see how little it is, like the text you find in a paragraph. Now, for you to write a paragraph on a website, you need to use a paragraph tag to write a paragraph text on a website. So that's how HTML is built. For you to have an image on a website, you need to have an image tag, a HTML image tag that you will use to put the image in. So that's how HTML works. And all of those happens with tags. So if I want to write a heading text, like a headline text, which is a big text, right? It means I will need a heading tag in HTML. And let's say I want to do that. How do I write the tag? I'll hold down my shift key. I would press the less than sign, which is this, less than sign. Okay, no questions. I would press the less than sign, then I would write, then I will state that I want to create a heading tag that I will use to create a heading text. So in this case, I would say I want to create a very big heading text. I'll say H1, like this. Now, when I write heading text, which is big here, and I save it, if I send this document now to, if I send this document now to the browser, if I send this HTML document now to the browser will understand that, okay, this website designer actually wants me to display a heading text, and the browser will display this text here as a heading text on the browser. So that's just how tags work. Now, there are different tags. There are different types of tags in HTML. We have tags that you can use to write paragraphs. We have tags that you can use to write heading text. And I would like us to start looking at them one after another now. Let's look at paragraph tags first. Paragraph tags. Now, to write a paragraph tag in HTML is pretty easy. As usual, hold down your shift key and press the less than sign, then type in P, just P. P stands for paragraph. When you type in P, then you hold down your shift key once more and press the greater than sign. When you press the greater than sign, you would notice something will happen, yeah? Automatically, another P tag will be created with a / before P. Now, what does this tell us? in HTML, this signifies that this first P is the opening paragraph tag, and this here is the closing paragraph tag. Now, it is in between the opening and closing paragraph tag that you will have to write the paragraph that you want to write in your website. Like, let's say on my website, I want to say, contact us for more, yeah? I can write it in between a paragraph tag. I can come in between those two P tags and I would say, contact us for more, just like this. Now, when I send this document to the browser will understand that this is to be displayed as a paragraph, and the browser will honor these tags and display this text here as a paragraph text. Now, is that clear? Wow. Uju can't hear anything. Okay. Now, let's look at another tag. Uju, can you refresh your browser? Now, let's look at another tag called the heading tag. Now, that's for the paragraph tag. Now, the heading tag in HTML is used to write heading text. And like we know, heading text are used to write like big title text, big heading captions on a website. Like if you come here, as you can see, this text is really big, while this one is small. Now, this one here is called this one here is the paragraph text on this website, while this one here is the heading text on this website. So in HTML, to write a heading text, you can use the heading tag. And we have 6 types of heading tags in HTML. We have 6: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. Now, take note, H1 is the biggest and H6 is the smallest. Now, before we write our heading tag, let's send this paragraph tag to the browser, to my browser, and let's see how the browser will display it. Now, you can send it to yours also. To do that, right-click on your VS Code. When you right-click on it, you would have this tab show up. Now, click on Open with Live Server. That's the reason I said we should install that extension called Live Server. When you click on Open with Live Server, you would see that, let's take this out. When you open with Live Server, let's open with Live Server. When you open with Live Server, you would see that Contact Us for More is showing in your browser. Are you guys following? Okay, it worked. Now, that is you beginning to build a website. That's you beginning to build a website. Now, let's create a heading text. And to create a heading text, you need to use a heading tag, right? And like I said, we have 6 types of heading tags, H1 to H6. And like I said also, H1 is the biggest heading tag. So let's create a H1 heading tag. I would say H1, and I would say this is the biggest. When I save it, just Control S to save. When you save it, go back to that browser tab. And okay, mine is not reloading. And now when you go back to the browser tab, your own browser tab, you will see that this is the biggest, is what is showing. Now you can see that this is a heading tag, or this is a heading text, and this is a paragraph text. This is bigger than this one here. I hope that's clear. Okay, then. So, let's look at the other heading tags. Remember I said we have H1 to H6, right? So I would create, don't worry about the shortcuts. I would create this one as H2, this one as H3, this one as H3, this one as H4, this one as H4, this one as H5, H5. Then I would create the H6 and this one as H6. When I save this and I go back to my browser and I reload my browser, you would see that this is the biggest and H6 is the smallest. How do you save the tags? Control S in your VS Code, just the way you save in Microsoft Word, it is Control S. So is this clear now? You can see that this is similar to what you guys normally see in Figma when people are creating design systems or people are creating typography styles. They create headline 1, headline 2, headline 3, all of that. Now, you can see that this is similar to what you normally see in Figma. That's why I said that the principles are the same. Now, is that clear? Can everyone still hear me? Okay, now I would want us to go ahead and create another tag. See how to create another tag called the article tag. Now we have seen how to create a tag that we can use to write a paragraph. We have seen how to create a tag that we can use to write heading text. Now I'd like us to see how to create a tag that we can use to write articles. Now, when you want to write an article in HTML, what you do is you, as usual, open your tag, then you type in article like this. Just type in article and close the tag. Then you can write your article. Now, I know everyone here is familiar with lorem ipsum, yeah? Like lorem ipsum in design. Now, lorem ipsum still exists in HTML. Like, as you can see, when building, you can find it hard to get content. So VS Code gives us lorem ipsum by default. And the way to access lorem ipsum is this. Just type lorem. When you type lorem, then type in the number of words you want to generate. In my case, I'll type in 24. When you type in 24, don't give any space, just lorem 24. Then press the tab key on your keyboard, the tab. When you press the tab key, VS Code will automatically generate 24 dummy lorem words for you, just like that. If I come here and refresh, you'd see that I have the lorem words here. Now I can come here and add more lorem words. I can say lorem 44, and I would have this. And when I come here and I reload, you'd see that I still have more lorem ipsum words showing up here. Now, all of these words, all of this here is created with an article tag. Now, the browser will understand that I am trying to write an article. That's why I am using the article tag. And the browser will present all of this text the way it will present a text that is supposed to be in an article. Is everyone following? Okay, someone just asked the question, what is the difference between an article tag and a paragraph tag? Now, I would give an answer to that. Articles don't have the same behaviors as paragraphs, especially when you have to do with spacing. Now, let me make that practical. Now, I'll take out everything in my VS Code so that I can explain that better. Now, take note, when I create a paragraph tag, and I have lorem 88. And I create another paragraph tag under this paragraph tag. Now, the way to create another paragraph tag under another paragraph tag is to go outside this closing P tag, the P tag that has the forward slash sign. Go outside of it, then use your enter key to go to a new line. Make sure you are not inside or in between the closing P tag and the opening P tag. Now, come to a new line here, create another paragraph tag, and then type in lorem 88 or any number again. Now, when I save this and I go to the browser, when I reload the browser, you will see that we have two paragraphs here. Now, how do you know that we have two paragraphs? In English language, when you have two paragraphs, there must be a space, a paragraph space between the two paragraphs, just like what we have here. There is this space here between this paragraph and this paragraph. But if I do that with the article tag, there will be no space at all. You will be unable to differentiate between the first article and the second article. Now, let's do that. Let's get practical with that so that you'd understand also. So I would highlight everything here and I'll delete it. Then I would create an article tag now. And I would say lorem 88. Now create another article tag. And I would say lorem 88. Now, when I come back to my browser and I reload the browser, you will see that you will be unable to differentiate which article is which article. Like both of the articles are together. There is no space between the both of them. So I hope that's clear. Someone is saying, why is line 1 and 2 empty? That's because I just left them empty. There is no space. There is no technical implication to that. So can you please explain that again? Now, the explanation is simple. With paragraph tags, as you can see here, I have two article tags. One article here. This is one article. And this is sorry about that. It's this diesel guys. So this is one article and this is another article here. So I have two articles here. But these two articles, if you come here in the browser, you cannot differentiate where one article stops and where the other one starts. But if I change these article tags to paragraph tags, yeah, like if I come here and I change this to paragraph, just regular English language, I change this to paragraph and I change this to paragraph, you'll see that when I save this and I reload my browser, there will be a space to differentiate the two paragraphs. So that's just it. Look at the space here. This space now differentiates the two paragraphs. So I hope that's clear. So can we proceed and talk about other tags? Okay, then let's talk about, I think before we talk about image tags, I'd like for us to talk about list. Let's talk about the very important things. Now let's talk about lists. I mean list in HTML. Now, when you are building a website, there are sometimes you will want to list some items. Like if I come here to this website, you'll see that these things here are all listed. Like you have a list of navigation items here. Now, when you want to create something like this, what you do is you would create a list of items. Then your list items will be docs, updates, blog, and all of this. Now, to create a list in HTML is simple. All you need to do is understand that there are two major types of lists in HTML. There are two major types of lists. You have more than two actually. I think there are three, but you will always come across two major types of lists. And the two types of lists are ordered, ordered list and unordered list. These are the two major types of lists that we have in HTML. Now, let's see the difference between ordered list and unordered list. And the way to see the difference is to create them. So let's create an ordered list. Now, to create an ordered list in HTML, you will use the ordered list tag. Remember, tags are everything. So I would open this tag, and to create an ordered list, all you do is say OL. Just type in OL. When you do that, you have created an ordered list. Now press the enter key so that you can have this OL stay here and the closing OL stay at the bottom. Now, what you have here is an ordered list, but obviously we all know that lists are not complete until the list have items inside all of them. Like if I have a list of, if I have my shopping list is empty until I have items in my shopping list that I want to buy. Yeah. So in HTML, it is the same thing. When you create an ordered list, it means that you have created one, but it is empty. You need items on your ordered list. So to create items on a list is simple. You will use the list item tag inside the ordered list. Now take note, I am creating this list item tag in between the opening ordered list tag and the closing ordered list tag. So I would say LI, just like this. Now I have created a list item. Now my first list item, I would go with shoes. Now, if I want another list item on my ordered list, I will still stay inside the opening ordered list and the closing ordered list, and I would create another list item. Now you can see how this is really easy to understand, just like it's real life. The only difference is we are using tags to create them. That's it. Now, if I save this, let's save that. Let's take all of this out. If I save this and I go to my browser now and I reload my browser, you will see that I have a list here, and it is listed like 1, 2, 1 shoes, 2 bags. If you come to my code, there is nowhere I specified 1 or 2. The browser understands that I am trying to create an ordered list because I used OL here. So the browser will automatically assign those numbers to the list items, which is 1 and 2. If I create another item here, it's going to assign number 3 to that item. Let's do that. You'd see if I say dress. I come here and I reload this. You see that it creates a number 3 and it calls that dress. Okay, can you create the file once more? How do I copy tags? Okay, I think that will be important to say. The way I copy tags is I keep my mouse pointer at the end of the tag. At the end, then I hold down my Shift key and my Alt key. If it's a Mac computer, you hold down your Shift key and your Options key, Shift key and my Alt key. Then I press down the down arrow key on my keyboard just once like this, and it's going to be copied automatically. As simple as that. Does anyone have any issues here? The code is reflecting on the browser on refresh click. Is internet connection needed? Okay, I am not understanding what you're saying. If your code is reflecting in the browser, then it means you are not writing it correctly. You are probably not closing one tag correctly. And you don't need internet connection actually to run HTML on your computer. You don't need internet connection. Is everyone following? Can I proceed? Okay then. Only one person? Yes, Shift, Alt, and down. Valentine, that's it. So that's how to create an ordered list. Now, like I said, we have ordered list and unordered list, and it is still the same process. The only difference is just that to create an unordered list, you would use the UL tag. Now, the UL stands for unordered, and L stands for list. Now, when you create an unordered list, the next thing will be to create your list items. And it's still the same process, actually. I can say shoes and I'd say bags and dress. Now we are going to see the difference when I create this. So I would say shoes, bags, and dress. When I save this browser and I reload, you'd see that we have two lists here. But the difference is one is ordered and it has numbers, and the other is unordered, it has bullet points. There are no numbers. So that's the difference between an ordered list and an list. And that's how to create an ordered list in HTML when you are building a website. And that's how to create an unordered list. So if there are any questions to this point, you can just say them to me so that I can definitely take those questions. List items horizontal. Yes, Einstein, you can definitely do that, but you can't do that in HTML. That's where it comes in play. When we get to CSS, we will definitely see how to do that. That's making the website looking better now. CSS will make it look better. So can I minimize my browser like this? Or how? Emmanuel, can you explain better? Oshodi, yes, this most likely will be on YouTube. Like you can see, I had the pause, so I don't know which phase will be on YouTube, but definitely I would share a link to that. I would share when it is up. I'll definitely share a link to that. So is everyone clear to this point? Okay, now, Anne-Marie, how to make a new file? Yes, to make a new file is easy. When you open your VS Code, like I said, bring your mouse pointer here to this point. You can see where my mouse pointer is. You would see this icon that says new file. Click on the icon. When you click on the icon, you would see a cursor blinking like this, asking you to type in the name of your file. You go ahead and type in the name of your file, index.html, then press the enter key on your keyboard, and that's sorted. Okay, Emmanuel, we are going to get to that, to the doc type session. I just want to be sure everyone, yes, Fascina, it's UL and OL, that's all. Emmanuel, we are going to get to that. So are you guys ready for us to proceed? All right then. Omatoyosi, I am going to get to your question later. Just remind me. Now, what I have done so far is just talking to you about tags. I'd like to talk to you about one more tag before we start putting together tags to make a website, and it's the image tag. But before we talk about the image tag, we need to talk about attributes or properties. Now, these things are very important. Now, attributes and properties are simply features that you add to a tag to make the tag more meaningful or to make the tag have more sense to itself. Just like in Figma, when you create let's say you create a rectangle. Let's come here in Figma. Let's say you create a rectangle, the rectangle has properties to itself, like it has the width property, the height property, and the fill color property, and all of that. Now, just imagine that this rectangle did not have all of these properties that you can use to make it make sense. It means designing will be really hard. So in HTML, we have what we call properties or attributes. You can call them attributes. You can call them properties. Now, all the tags in HTML can accept attributes. Every tag in HTML can take attributes, and there are different type of attributes that you add to a tag to make the tag make sense. Now, let's see how to create images, or let's see how to add image to a website using HTML. Definitely, we are going to use a tag, and it is called the image tag. To create the image tag, just type img. Okay, let's not go that way. Let's just do our normal img, and like this. And you have created the image tag. Now, this is how to create the image tag in HTML. If you notice, this tag does not have one img. This tag is not written like this. If you notice, it is not written like this. And /img. If you notice, the image tag is not written like this, just like the paragraph tag or the rest of the tags. And the reason is because there are some tags called self-closing tags in HTML. Such tags opens themselves and close themselves without needing to have another closing tag. And the image tag is a self-closing tag. Now, as you can see, this tag doesn't make sense. It's just img. Now, you will ask yourself, how do we use the img there? Okay. The img tag, Toyosi said I should do that. It's img space / and the greater than sign. That's it. Just less than sign, img, then space / sign, and then the greater than sign. That's it. Now, you may be asking yourself, how will this tag here display an image on my website? Because it doesn't make sense like this. Now, it is at this point we need attributes for tags. If this tag does not have an attribute, it means that this tag will be useless. Now, how do we write attributes in tags? Attributes are written inside tags. Take note, after the name of the tag, you will give a space. When you give a space, then you can write an attribute. And image tags in HTML always come with two major attributes, two default attributes. The first attribute is called the source attribute. It is written like this, src. When you write src, you press the enter key on your keyboard, and you will have the equal to sign and the opening quotation mark and the closing quotation mark. Now, this src, or this source attribute, is there so that you can tell HTML, or you can tell the browser, the source of the image that you want the browser to display. Now, this is you telling the browser, okay, now let's go back. Creating the img tag is you telling the browser that I want to display an image on my website. Now, the browser will ask you, where is this image? You will use the source attribute to point the browser to the source of the image, which is the place where the image is located. Now, the browser will go to that location, fetch the image, and display it for everyone to see. Is that explanation clear? Okay. Anne-Marie says I should go through the img again. It is just the same way. Breonna just wrote it properly. It is greater than sign, img, no space between the greater than sign and the img. Then you give a space, then you write the / sign and the greater than sign. The first one is the less than sign, actually. Sorry for that mix up. So this is the less than sign, img. You give space and you write the forward slash and the greater than sign. Now we are talking about the source attribute, and I have explained what that attribute is used to do. Now, when you have written the source attribute like this, and you want to define the location of the image, this is where you now ask yourself, where is the image? In HTML, when you are designing a website, you will first of all go to Figma. If you have images in Figma, you will download all your images as SVG files. Like, let's say this is my image and I want to download it. I would come here, I would click on export, and I would select SVG. When I select SVG, I would click on export. So I would first of all download all the images that I need to my computer. Then you will go to your computer. You will fetch all of the images that you need to have on your website. You will fetch all of them, then come to the project folder that you created. Can everyone see my desktop? I need to be sure. Okay. Then you will come to the project folder that you created for that website. Yeah. You open the project folder, then you would create an images folder inside that your folder. I have already created mine. Now to create is just come here, the same way you create a folder. When you create the images folder, it is inside that images folder here that you will copy all the images you want on your website, and you will paste all the images inside your images folder, which is inside your project folder. Currently, I have only one image here, which is an SVG file. You can have 10 images, depending on how many images you want on your website. Now, that's how you copy and paste images that you want to have on your website. That's how you do it. So when you have pasted all the images that you will want inside that images folder that you have created in your project folder, the next thing you do is this. You would come here to VS Code. Come to VS Code, you will see that that images subfolder that you created will display here in VS Code. As you can see my mouse pointer, this is mine. The images subfolder is showing here, and it is under the HTML CSS tutorial project folder that I created. Now, having all of your images inside the images folder will make it possible for you to set a location in your SRC attribute. You can be able now to tell the browser or to tell HTML that go to so folder. In that folder, you will find so image. Grab that image and display it. As easy as that. And we will use the source attributes to set that instruction for the browser. So how do we set the instruction? How do we set the location of this image? Take note, this is my image here. It's called map.set.svg. You can rename your images better. Now, how do we set that? I will come here in between these quotation marks. I would press the dot sign. Now, I would explain this to you guys. I would press the dot sign. I would press the forward slash sign, and I would select images, and I would select the name of my image that I want to be displayed in this image tag. Now, let me explain what this is to you. This is me practically telling HTML that start from here. Like, this dot sign means start from here. Forward slash means go to. Now, I am telling HTML that start from here and go to. Now, where am I asking HTML to go to? I want HTML to go to the images folder, which is this. Now, when the browser or when HTML gets to the images folder, I will also put the forward slash sign again. That means go to. And I would say go to. Then I would put the name of the image here that I want HTML to go to and grab. So dot once more means start from here. / means go to. Then you would put the location that you want HTML to go to. Then you would put another / which means go to also. Then you put the name of the image that you want HTML to go and grab. So this is called path, the path definition, PATH, path definition. It's also present in our computers. Like if I come here in my computer and I click inside this bar, like I think this should be in, okay. Now you can see that we have it here. I have C /user /jbrain /desktop /general. Now in my computer it is using /. In HTML it uses /. So it is a normal path definition in computer science. What this here is trying to tell me is that currently I am in my general folder, and my general folder is inside my desktop folder, which is inside my JBrain folder and my users folder and in my C drive. So it is from C drive, go to users, go to the users folder. In the users folder, go to the JBrain folder. In the JBrain folder, go to the desktop folder, and in the desktop folder, go to the general folder. So that's how paths are being defined in computer science. So is everyone following? Yes, my images are in SVGs. Download your images as SVGs. SVGs have the highest quality when you are building for the web. Oladosu says he is lost. Can you please state where you are lost so that we can just pedal back a bit for you? Now, let me say what's happening here once more. Now, writing IMG means that I want to display an image on the browser. That's what it means when I create an IMG tag like this. When an IMG tag is being created like this, it means that you want to display an image on the browser. Now, as it is like this, which image do you want to display? You need to tell the browser the image that the browser should display. You need to point the browser to the location where the image is located so that the browser can go there and get the image. Now, for that reason, that is why we need an attribute called source. Now, the source attribute is written as src. Now, this source attribute is the attribute that we will use to tell the browser where to go and get the image from. I don't know if that's clear. Is that clear? Okay, making sense. Okay, now, okay, it's clear till this point. Now, when you put the source attribute here, it will be time for you to point the browser or HTML to where the image is located. I think everyone is confused because of this part here, this part definition. So what I would like to do is I'd like to use Unsplash. I'd like to use Unsplash, and I would see if I can actually get how will I get the link from Unsplash? The link for this image. Let's see if I can copy this link, this Unsplash link. Let's see if it's going to load inside this src attribute. I think it's because I was using the part there, that's why it was a bit confusing. Now, if I come here to my browser and I reload, let's take this one out first. I come here in my browser and I reload my browser, you'd see that it is showing me the Unsplash image, although the image is really large. Is that clear? Okay. All I had to do was get the link of the image and paste the link inside this src attribute. Paste it in between the quotation mark that is in front of the src attribute. I would like to do that again. Let's take all of this out so that you understand better. So I hope that was clear. I think the main problem was that part that I was creating actually. Let's paste the Unsplash link now. So I would paste the Unsplash link in between these two quotation mark. Take note. When I paste it and I save it, when I paste it and I save it, and I come to my browser, if I load my browser, it's going to show the image. If I come here and I get another image and I replace it, it's also going to show that image, just like that. So that was you telling the browser where to go and get the image you want to display on your website. It's as easy as that. That was you telling the browser, go to that place, grab that image, and come and display the image. Yes, Fascinas just raised an idea. The dot sign was to mark where to begin on my computer because the image I displayed first was on my computer, not on the internet. This image that I just displayed is on the internet, so I won't need the dot sign. The only reason I needed the dot sign was because that image that I was going to display was on my computer. So that's why I needed that image. Is that clear? Okay, Brianna said an image saved in the HTML will be visible to other users who don't have access. No, if the image you use in HTML is saved to your computer, yeah, others other users won't have access to the image except you deploy the website and you deploy that image to the internet. But if the image is just there in your computer only, nobody will be able to even access the website apart from you that have the website on your computer. For others to access the website, you'd have to deploy it on any site or any deployment site out there so that others can see it greatly. So far we have covered. If you have any questions, you can say them to me before I just go into the next major section, which is going to be the boilerplate, the HTML boilerplate. That's where we are going to start the SVG pictures. The SVG pictures, you come here in Figma. Let's say I create a frame here, and that's my let's use Unsplash to create to put an image inside this frame and then download the image as an SVG. Yeah. So when I come here and I click on animal and I have this placed inside this frame here, and I want to put this on my website as an image, what I'll do is I'll keep this selected. And this is also important for UI UX designers to know how to do because you will always hand off assets. You will prepare assets that you will give to the front end engineers. So when you are sending images to the front end engineers, you send them as SVGs. You download them and zip them and mail them or send them through any medium to the engineers. So when you keep the image selected, you would come here, you'd click on export, this plus sign in front of export. Then you select SVG here and not PNG. When you select SVG, you click on export here. Then the SVG file will be downloaded to your computer. Now you can right click on the SVG file, click on show in folder, go to your folder, copy that SVG file, then go to the project folder of your website, then create a subfolder inside of it called images and paste that SVG image that you have copied. I hope that's clear. Amirat, I hope that's clear. And someone is saying my browser doesn't reload when refreshed. It will definitely reload. If it doesn't reload, yes, I used the Unsplash plugin now in Figma. Yes, you can definitely do that without the Unsplash plugin. Anything at all in Figma can be exported, can be exported as SVG. Yes, if you have the picture on your computer already, take it to Figma, treat it, add some light, add some any other thing that you want to add, then you export it as SVG. But if you are not a designer and you want to use the image on your computer, you can definitely use a non-SVG image. SVGs are cleaner and sharper, actually. That's why it is advised to use. SVGs. Your images will appear sharper and cleaner. So, before we proceed to the main section, where we are going to start the real process of creating websites, I would like to have one more or two more questions to address. You can ask any question. Then we are going to create what we call a HTML boilerplate. And by the time we create HTML boilerplate, HTML tags won't be strange to us. We will understand what we are doing. And tomorrow we will conclude HTML and commence CSS to a very good point. Then the class is 3 days, actually. Then the third day, we are going to build that design that I displayed to everyone earlier on. But I just want everybody who is seeing HTML for the first time to really get comfortable and to really understand that HTML is real life. It's logic. It's like Figma. All you have to know is use the right tags. So someone is saying, can you go through the treatment one more time for SVG? It's just easy. When you get your image, keep the image selected. Come here, click on export, select SVG, click on export here, and your image will be downloaded as an SVG to your computer. Now, right-click on the image or go to your downloads folder, copy that image, then take it to the images folder in your projects folder and paste it in that folder. Then you can use it. That's it. But most times, these days, many people are comfortable with using this method, actually, where they have an image tag, they go to Unsplash or they go to a cloud solution, get the link of an image, and they paste the link in the src attribute. If you are okay with that, you can also use that in your website development process. Someone is saying, okay, some of us already know HTML and CSS and also Figma. Our goal is to learn the Figma to HTML. Okay, that's from Valentine. I think more people here don't know the basics of HTML, so that's why I am going through the basics. And I think it's on the third day that I would convert the Figma design that I showed everyone to a website. But before we do that, I think it will be fair if more people here who don't have knowledge of HTML at all get to be comfortable with HTML and get comfortable with CSS. Then from that point, we can carry everyone along. Or if more people here know HTML and CSS, or if more people here know HTML and CSS, you can say it in the comment section also. If I am actually dragging everyone back, if more people know, then we can. But if this, okay, it means I think more people don't know HTML and CSS, so we don't have to rush people. So, any more questions before we proceed? Okay. All right then. Now, if you understand tags so far, you understand how to create a HTML file, create a project, and you understand all I have been talking about so far, say yes in the comment section so that we can proceed. Because if you know tags, you have known 70% of HTML. As long as you know tags, you have known 70% of HTML. The remaining part is the container, the layout, design, and everything. That's all you need to know. So I think this is a good response. Now, let's come to our VS Code. You can see that my index.html file is empty. Now, when you create an index.html file and you want to start building a website, there are rules and procedures that you have to follow. Just like in Figma, yeah, if I want to create a website in Figma, what do I do first? I get a frame, right? I would select the frame tool, then I would get a MacBook Pro frame or an iMac frame, whatever frame, but I need to get a frame first before I start designing the website on the frame, right? Now, in HTML, it is similar. When you create your file, you will first of all create what we call a HTML boilerplate. Now, just see the HTML boilerplate like that frame that you normally create in Figma. Just see it like that. Now, to create the HTML boilerplate might be complex, but in this course, I'll just tell you how to go about it easily. All you have to do is keep your mouse pointer at line 1 here. While it is blinking, hold down your shift key on your keyboard. Will show up like this. Now, when it shows up, bring your mouse pointer and select this first option here. And you'll have the boilerplate show up like this. Now, let's go over it again. Hold down your shift key, press the number 1 key on your keyboard. Sorry about that. Press the number 1 key on your keyboard once and select this option. Or when you press the number 1 key on your keyboard and that exclamation mark shows up, you can press the tab key on your keyboard and your boilerplate will show up. Is that clear? Has everyone done it? Is it working for everyone? Okay, I would go over it again for those who didn't get it. Now, like I said, keep your cursor on line 1. While it is blinking, hold down your shift key and press the number 1 key on your keyboard. The number 1 key on your keyboard that is above tab or close to escape, not the number 1 key on your keyboard that is on the numeric side. Now, hold your shift key and press the number 1 key. You will have the exclamation mark show up. When that mark shows up, don't press anything. Just come and press the tab key on your keyboard like this, and your HTML boilerplate will show up. Okay, so I think everyone has gotten that created. Cool. Now, this boilerplate that has showed up is this boilerplate is the structure and it is skeleton. It is called boilerplate. Boiler. I know I am supposed to be writing most of these things actually. It is called boilerplate, just like a hot plate with hot water that is boiling. So it's boilerplate. So that boilerplate is the foundation, or it's the building block. It's the basic building block of every website that you see out there today. Every website has this. Every website has it. Now, before now, you will learn how to write this code one after another. But these days, I will advise you not to even stress yourself. As you proceed, you will get used to it. But at this beginning stage, don't stress yourself with learning how to write this. Just generate it. Reason is because since it is something that you will generate every time, it's not really logical to learn how to write it on your own, except you want to learn how to write it on your own. But if you do this for 1 year, 2 years, you would see that one day you would know how to write it on your own without anybody asking you to write it. Now, this boilerplate contains different tags, and it is important that you understand what these tags, all of these tags do. And I'll explain all of these tags. And please, just in case I add additional 2 or 3 minutes, don't be offended for me taking your time. Just know that I am trying to explain these tags. So I'd like us to explain, to start with the first tag here, which is called the doc type tag. Is everyone hearing me? Okay. Now, this doc type tag here is just like when I say it is, first of all, this tag, when you send this file, this index.html file to the browser, it is this tag that will let the browser know that this is a HTML version 5 website. HTML has different versions. HTML 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The latest version is version 5, and that's what we are dealing with currently. First of all, this tag will let HTML know that this HTML document type is the version 5 of HTML. So it's always necessary for this tag to be there. And this tag also, this doc type tag, can be used also to tell the web browser that, hey, this document that is being loaded into you is a HTML document. Now read this like you are reading English. Doc type means document type. Over here we have HTML. So you can interpret this like this document type is a HTML document. I hope that's clear. Okay then. Now let's look at, I hope the doc type tag is clear. Now let's look at the next tag here. The next tag here is the HTML tag. Now, this HTML tag is called the root HTML tag. It's called the root HTML tag. Now, take note, this doc type tag does not have a closing or an opening doc type tag. It is a self-closing tag. If you look at your code very well, you will see that it starts here and it ends here. There is no doc type closing tag anywhere. But you see this HTML tag here? It has a closing HTML tag, which is this at the end here. Now you see that there is a / HTML tag here, and this one here does not have the /. Now this HTML tag is the root HTML tag. Now this HTML tag is the tag that will contain all the HTML code, all the HTML instructions that the web browser will load. That is after the web browser has identified that this document is a HTML document and it is a HTML version 5 document. When the browser recognizes that fact, the browser will then go to this HTML tag, and load all the instructions and all the HTML code that is inside this HTML tag. As you can see, it is here and it closes here. Every other code here stays inside this and this. You can see that this and this is wrapping all of this other code here. So that is why it is called the root HTML tag. Oh my God. Can you guys hear me now? Someone is saying that I am breaking up. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. So that's why it is called the root HTML tag. Now, if you look at this HTML tag, there is an attribute here. Remember, we talked about attributes, and attributes always have the equal to sign in front of them. When you see an attribute, it will have an equal to sign because attributes always have values. Like in Figma, remember I said attributes are also called properties. In Figma, properties always have values. The width property here is W. The value is 1728, right? Now in HTML, this attribute is lang and the value is en. This attribute is called the language attribute and the value here is en, which stands for English. Now, this is you telling the browser that this website that I am loading is a website that is written in English language, so that when the website is being loaded, the website will load that, so that the browser will load that website as an English language website. Now, if it is French, you come here and change it to French. If it is Portuguese, you change that to Portuguese or whichever language you want to change it to. But most times, everyone keeps it set to en and they convert to their own language in the browser. So you can always keep this set to en, set to English. Now, that's the purpose of this website, of this tag here, sorry to say. Now, after the HTML tag, we have the head tag. Now, this head tag here has an opening head tag and a closing head tag. And inside this opening and closing head tag, we have all of these meta tags. Now, I'll explain what the head tag is. Now, when you go to a website, you would see that in the browser, there is this section at the top of the browser that you can use sometimes to know which website you are on. Like you can see here, I know that this is a Figma website. Now, this section is called the head section of a website. That is the head section of the website. And it is in this head tag that you will configure the head section. Now, this head section contains lots of metadata that can be used to make your website a standard website. Now, in the head section, you have meta tags that can be used for SEO. You have meta tag that can be used to make the website responsive. Like this meta tag here controls it is an encoding meta tag. It sets the character set to UTF-8. Now, you don't have to worry yourself about this. It is a general global web standard that every website has a character set of UTF-8. So you don't have to worry yourself about that. You can go ahead and read that later. But the second meta tag here is used to control the compatibility of this website that you want to create. As you can see, over here, there's an attribute that says IE is equal to Edge, which means Internet Explorer is equal to Edge. Now, you would know that Internet Explorer has been deprecated from the market. Now, it is now Edge that is being used. So this attribute here is trying to let every browser know that, or everybody know that Internet Explorer now is now Edge. Like if you design for Internet Explorer now, any design that was made for Internet Explorer will now be compatible with Edge, with Microsoft Edge. That's what that tag is meant for. Now, if you are not understanding, you can say it in the comment section. If you're understanding, you can say it in the comment section so that I can proceed. Okay, someone is saying, how can you add a logo? Now, we are going to look at that when we get to CSS tomorrow. Ayodeji is, okay. Ayodeji say, I should come again. Now, in the head tag, it is in the head tag that you will set the meta settings, like you would set some configurations for the website. Now, this meta tag here controls the compatibility of the website. Like, it's this tag that will make this your website to be compatible with Opera Mini, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge, all those browsers. It is this tag. As long as this tag is here, your website will be compatible with most of those browsers. So I hope that one is clear. All right then. So this meta tag here controls the responsiveness of the website. Like, we all know how websites are to be responsive. Like, if I toggle this to a mobile view, you can see that the website is mobile friendly. I can view it perfectly on a mobile phone. I can view it perfectly on a Nest Hub or a tablet, any device at all. The website is friendly to any device. Now, this tag here, this meta tag, makes that possible. Like, this attribute here targets the viewport, and the content attribute here has all of these values. So just know that if you have this meta tag here, you can then scale your website to be responsive as long as you have this tag. So this tag is also supposed to be in the head tag. Now, in the head tag, there are other tags that you can have. There are other meta tags for SEO, and other things. You can have those other tags there, but in this case, what we are going to focus on is just knowing that this tag is for responsiveness. This tag is for compatibility. This is the UTF-8 encoding tag, and the final tag here in the head tag is the title tag. Now, this title tag here is used to control the title of the website. Now, as you can see here on this website, this head tag here, there is a title here called Light Hall. Most websites, as you can see here, there is Visual Studio Code here. Now, it is that title tag that you will use to write your own. If your website is called buy and sell, you come here and write buy and sell. You save it. Now, when I load this website in the browser, you would see that my head tag is buy and sell here. My title, is buy and sell. So that's how that is done. I hope that's clear. IODG, I hope that's clear also. All right then. So must we control everything we do on HTML? Yes, there are some plugins that can help you automatically save your code, but I think it's not really a nice experience if your code is automatically saved, especially when you start writing major code like for websites and apps. Most times you write and you want the error to be there. You get, okay? You just want the error to be there, because sometimes errors are not errors, but the IDE might keep shouting error, and sometimes it can actually make you get like, it can make you frustrated. Like, you write and you see errors all the time, and I don't think it's really cool. But there are some extensions that you can download and save to your VS Code so that you can automatically save as you type. But trust me, you won't really like it because it's going to scream error every time, and that can be headache. So finally, we have the body tag here. Now it is inside this body tag that you will write all the code that will be in the body of the website. Like all these designs here, all this code, all this website, it is inside the body tag that you write all of them. It is inside the body tag. So it is inside the body tag that we will get to be building, writing, putting our pictures, putting our paragraphs, putting all of those stuff. It is inside this body tag, in between this body tag. So this body tag can actually grow very long, grow very tall. We will write all our code inside the body tag. That's why it is called body actually. And that's why this place is called head and this section is called body. So all of this white section is the body section of our website, and it is inside the body tag that we are going to write everything that we need to write. Like if I come in here now and I write in a H1 tag and I say this is heading and I save, when I go to my browser, you see that it is inside my body section that I have this is heading. That's clear, right? Okay, then. So what we have done is we have learnt about tags today. We have gotten introduced to HTML. We have learnt about tags, and we have learnt about the HTML boilerplate. So from tomorrow, we are going to start building certain elements inside our body tag, and we are going to learn about layouts, layout, learn how to have certain type of wrapping tags and see how we can create forms also, and just all of that tomorrow. Then we will get to do CSS tomorrow and see how to make the HTML look beautiful, because as you can see, this is not looking cool. Like the font family is really ugly. So it is with CSS that we will change the font family to look really, really fine and all of that. So, okay, Amirat is saying, can we please go through configure on time? Okay, for those of us who that were having issues, to configure the text, the wrap text, click on File, hover on Preferences, click on Settings, come here in the Search Settings bar, type in Wrap. When you type in Wrap, you'll see this option here that says Word Wrap. Come here and set this to on. Just select on, and that's all. Now for the other settings, the settings that will make your computer not use so much processor, I think it differs in computers by computers. Control Shift and P. And when you do Control Shift and P, select Preferences Configure Runtime Arguments. When you select that, come here, take out the 2 / that you will meet in front of disable hardware acceleration. Or what I would say is just make your own disable hardware acceleration look exactly like my own here. You can take a screenshot and make yours look exactly like my own. No / in front, no / at the end, just like this. This will make VS Code not run your processor too bad. Your processor won't really take up more space while VS Code is running. Because sometimes you might notice that when you turn on your VS Code, your computer might start overheating. So that's that. I hope everyone was okay in this session. And you guys can join the Discord channel. It's on my Twitter page. You can join the Discord channel. You can always reach out to me with questions there. You can join the Discord channel anytime. The link to the Discord channel is on my Twitter page. You guys can join the Discord channel. See you all tomorrow. Thank you very much.